Nobody really understands the time frame. Nobody really understands at this point why she's disappeared for the last 3 years.
In 2019, Jessica Nunez, Alicia Navarro's mom, said she had found a note in her daughter's bedroom saying she ran away. But Nunez always maintained that was out of character for her then 14-year-old. Years later, police say everything pointed to Navarro willingly leaving her home.
Jessica does feel there's something off, but she really hasn't had time to process so much of it.
The FBI and Center for Missing and Exploited Children has assisted in the search, along with the Anti-Predator Project, a nonprofit dedicated to combating human trafficking and sexual predators.
I think we were walking in the right direction, if that makes sense, as far as circumstances and what's happened. But I think her walking into a police station and turning herself in was unexpected by everybody.
Sunday, Navarro walked into Havre Police Department in Montana, identified herself, and asked to get a driver's license. Glendale Police releasing this video of her speaking with investigators.
We just want to make sure that you're safe.
I understand that.
Based on the personality profile we've built and everything else, it seems that may be how we would expect her to act. But at the end of the day, none of us prior to this have ever had any interaction with her, so we can't really tell.
He admits there are lots of questions, like how she arrived in Montana, who she was with, and why she's turning herself in now.
We've got to piece together the last 3+ years of Alicia's life, right? We got to figure out what happened.
Investigators say their work is far from over.
There's going to be a certain portion of this, I don't think anybody will ever have answers to, right?
Police say Navarro is very apologetic to what she has put her mother through and expressed that it was not intentional, and she hopes to have a relationship with her mom. Right now, we still don't know if she will return to Arizona or if she will stay in Montana.
And Alexis, because police say that they can't be sure there wasn't foul play in her going missing initially, did they or the investigator give any indication that they're going to, for sure, get to the bottom of who she may have been with those 3+ years?
Glendale Police has made it very clear this is still an ongoing investigation, and this private investigator says their work is really far from over. They're going to start trying to piece together exactly what happened in those last 3 years, and he tells me so far he hasn't even had a chance to speak with Alicia, so there are still lots of things that he's trying to work on, and he hopes that he'll be able to get to Montana to get some of those answers.
We hope she's in a safe place now. Alexis, thank you.
All right.